A talk by Prashantji on the Pancha Koshas on the occasion of the 31st Annual Day Celebration 2006 of the Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute.
Namaskar once again from here. Well, the role there was different. The role here is different. Well, the students of yoga have often heard about the concept of Pancha Koshas. The 5 Koshas being Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. And unfortunately, with whatever knowledge usually people have, the students of yoga have, the seekers in the path of spiritualism have, it is more illusory. And therefore, let us try to understand it as it really is in the scriptures. Of course, I will try to do that to the extent possible to my abilities. Usually, it is understood that the physical body is Annamaya Kosha. It is not Annamaya Kosha. It cannot be designated as Annamaya Kosha unless the body is in spiritual pursuit. Just the physical, anatomical, physical body is not described, explained as Annamaya Kosha in the Upanishads. But commonly the understanding is that the body is made up of skin, flesh, muscles, tissues, fibers, cavities, organs. The anatomical body, the physical body, anatomical body is Annamaya Kosha. But that is a travesty. This body is Annamaya Kosha only when it is in a spiritual pursuit. This basic concept, notion should be understood by the seekers of yoga. As I said, it has been rendered into English as physical body. Annamaya Kosha has been described as physical body. And therefore the other koshas are described as physical body, energy body, psychological body, mental body, intellectual body. Now those are all loose renditions, loose translations. More than conceiving anything, one really misconstrues. The basic point is that this body is not Annamaya Kosha. Unless this body is in spiritual pursuit, it doesn't get qualified as Annamaya Kosha. Although this body is same for us physically, anatomically. You can wake up a person at midnight, have the X-ray and scanning. You can take the same thing during any state of man, condition of life, it will be showing the same. So, Annamaya Kosha is not physical body. The thing is that this body itself changes in different conditions. Now this body can be indulging anything like sensuality, craze, and from there it can be established in a more devout role of worship form. The body is different. It is not the same body. Therefore, the body which is indulging in intemperance, indulging in some overindulgence, it will be X-ray wise, in the eyes of X-ray, in the eyes of endoscopy, the body won't show any difference. And that is why in radiology, you are asked to go to such endoscopic tests based on your convenience and the convenience of the consultant, radiologist consultant. But we ourselves can experience that the whole manifestation of this body changes depending upon whether it is in a noble role or ignoble role. Therefore, what I am trying to say is that it is not right on our part to call this body as it is in any condition as Annamaya Kosha. Now, reference or description of this Annamaya Kosha has come in an Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. It comes in ghuvalli, which is also called Varuni Vidya, and it is a spiritual pursuit. It is a Brahma Vidya. It's a Vidya to realize the ultimate, and there Annamaya Kosha has been referred to. But the modern writers have interpreted Annamaya Kosha as the physical body made up of skin, flesh, muscles, tissues, organs, etc. And that is why it has been misconstrued. Now the word is Annamaya Kosha. There is a suffix, Maya. Now vernacular people know it. Where does the Maya come? Maya is a profusion. Whenever there is a profusion, it is the suffix is used Maya, Jalamaya, Agnimaya. So it is Annamaya. It is food-profused body. Now this food-profused body means it is not merely physical body. Even as you are hearing me, now some of you might think that it is your psychological pursuit or mental pursuit or intellectual pursuit in trying to understand what I say. And you might deem that your mental body is involved, your intellectual body is involved. But that is not true. You are looking at me, you are hearing me, you are trying to understand me. There is a thought process that might work on what I say. All that is going on while you are hearing. You are not merely hearing me. As you are hearing, because you are not just tape recorders recording what I say. That is going on here. This is recording what I say. You are not merely recording what I am saying. Your thought process is applied. Your thinking is applied. Your analysis are applied. And that all is Annamaya. Even if I put a question here to you and make you think on it, or present a proposition and make you deliberate on it, still it will be all Annamaya. The simple logic behind it is, now you are all seeing me, you are all hearing me. Now that seeing is taking place, hearing is taking place because of the blood supply to the senses. If the blood supply to the senses is suspended, we will not be able to see me and hear me. So also the psychological act that is going on, psychomental act that is going on, you are thinking, you are analyzing, that is also taking place because of the blood. If the blood supply to the brain is suspended, you won't be able to do what you are doing. So what I want you to understand is that don't take these koshas as physical body, mental body, intellectual body. Because that intelligence is also annamaya. The mind is also annamaya. Suppose from my talk, it's wishful thinking on my part, suppose you are in rapture. You are in rapture. Even then, that will be annamaya. Don't mistake it to bliss. Do not mistake it to bliss profused body, which this Upanishad mentions. Therefore, as students of yoga, sometimes in practices of pranayam, shavasana, meditation that you might be doing, you might get a state of bliss, a psychedelic state, a delight, and you call it a spiritual bliss that you have experienced. All that will be annamaya. The anandamaya is light years away. Get to know one thing. So the Upanishad speaks about food-profused body, energy-profused body, mind-profused body, in the soul-profused body, and divinity-profused body, bliss-profused body. It is profusion. Now, even if I give you a state of bliss out of my talk, or you might experience in a class, shavasana, meditation, or whatever, it's not bliss profusion. It's a sparkle. Like we have, what you call pen light torches. What is the power? What is the light? The light is merely to know the keyhole so that you can insert the key properly, unlock your apartment. So similarly, if at all if you get some bliss, the bliss is just a particle, and not to mistake it to anandamaya experience. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is that it won't be right to construe the 5 koshas as physical sheath, energy sheath, mental sheath, vijnana sheath, and ananda sheath. It's not just sheath, it is profusion. Maya, the word maya, suffix maya has been used. annamayakos, pranamaya-kos, mano-maya-kos, vijnana-maya-kos, anandamaya-kos. And be assured and be sure that you and me as mortals will never get even a touch of anandamaya condition. It is light years away. Now this concept of 5 koshas, why has it come in the Upanishads which deal with Adhyatma, which deal with spiritualism? Why that concept has come? One of the major reasons is to make the spiritual seeker understand what is this embodiment. Now usually we think that we are our body and mind. If we deduct the body and mind, we think we are zero. Do you follow? If we deduct the body and mind from this embodiment, we think that we are no entity. Now that is not true. That revelation will come by studying the spiritual scriptures. One cannot be immediately going for experience, that I want to experience the truth. The spiritual sciences give advices, there are instructions, those must be understood. So the point is, if you recall, sometimes back, some years back, maybe 23rd anniversary, I had given a talk. The caption was, "Why are we like this? And why are we not like that?" Obviously, that pertains to our present life. And therefore, the question was, why are we like this? And why are we not like that? So, chakras, if you recall, I delineated on the concept of chakras, and I tried to explain you the rationale behind the question, the answer to the question, and the rationale behind it as to why are we like this and why are we not like that. Now, this concept of 5 koshas tell us what are we potentially, actually, and also latently. It doesn't just circumscribe the present life. While the chakras circumscribe the present life, the functioning of the chakras circumambulates the present life. But the concept of Pancha koshas will tell us what have we been all through so far, what are we today, and what we should be. So the purpose of human manifestation, what is our purpose of life? To be happy in this life, to attain name, fame, glory, and once that is attained, we think our goal in life is accomplished. If we earn wealth, name, fame, recognition, status, we think our life is accomplished. The Panchakoshas tell us where is the accomplishment, sense of accomplishment, where is it and what is it. So it deals with our entire existence. Now, students of yoga should know that we have been eternal beings. We have been existing from time without beginning. It is not that we came into existence on the point of birth. It is not that we are going to end our existence on the point of death. The Adhyatma tells us about that reality. And therefore the Panchakoshas circumambulate the entire existence of ours and will tell us as to what is the purpose, archetypal purpose behind us being human beings. We rarely take into account the archetypal purpose behind our existence. We have our own laid out purposes. I want to attain this in life. I want to attain this much of material glory in the life. I want to attain name, fame, recognition, status. A status like one without a second. I want to be the best possible in my field. I want to be tallest in my endeavor, in my field. This is what man aspires. But that is, as I said, personal plan. It is our personal plan as to what should I attain in the life. And material-minded people, whenever we are in materialistic frame of mind, we want to have a plan and see that we try to execute that plan. We lay out our goals, decide our goals. I want to attain this in life, and we try to make a pursuit. If we attain, we have sense of accomplishment. If not, we have dejection and company unlimited, frustration and company unlimited, woes and woes and woes and woes. The point is, we as students of yoga and spiritual seekers should somewhere get to know what is the archetypal plan behind we being human beings. What is the divine plan which has made us as human beings? And the concept of Panchakoshas, the philosophy of Panchakoshas, the instructions of Panchakoshas divulge that to us. Now, as it has been made, we have been made aware several times that yoga is a pursuit of several lives. Anek janma samsiddho tato yati param gatim, Bhagavad Gita. That this is the pursuit of several lives. In materialism, we have the pursuit of one life. Maximum time allotted and expected is one lifespan. Within that lifespan, we want to attain whatever we want to attain materially. But as students of Adhyatma Yoga, we have been made aware of the fact that this is an endeavor of several lives. Therefore, the scheme, the blueprint of our endeavor cannot be just taking into account one single lifespan. Like in our business of life, we have short-term plans and long-term plans. Similarly, in the spiritual endeavor, we cannot have a lifetime plan merely drafted, based on which we might start our endeavor. That won't work. We need a scheme which circumscribes several lives. And that is why the complete view of human being is so essential in spiritual pursuit. And this concept of Panchakoshas divulges that. Now, coming to the popular concept of about Annamaya Kosha, that it is physical body. Try to understand the difference between physical body and physicalized body. What's the difference? What's the difference between physical body and physicalized body? In physicalized body, there is high gravity. Do you follow? It is physicalized. Understand the gravity. Try to imagine the gravity on that body. Now, as I said in the beginning, that this body can be obsessed sometimes with craze, delirium, sensuality, indulgence. What is the chemistry of the body? What is the purpose of the body? What is the drive in the body? So what is the drive, chemistry, and the movement of the body? Now imagine the same body is now obsessed by something that is noble, like worshipping a deity, worshipping the personal deity, worshipping a revered person, could be Guru, whom you revere. Now what happens to the body? What happens to the chemistry of the body? What happens to the drive in the body? What are the gestures of such body? What is that manifestation of such body? So one and the same body can be having huge transformation from the phases of stark, pronounced ignobility to very stark and pronounced nobility. Now the modern studies of human body have no clue, but any Tom, Dick and Harry common man can understand it's a different body. The whole body chemistry changes. The whole muscular status changes. Imagine, how is your status when you are indulging in sensuality, and what is the musculature when you are supplicative in a noble act of worshipping God, personal deity, a revered person. If I may say so, in modern language, the myogram changes. Myogram. EMG changes. Those who are aware of this word. What is EMG? All of you know about ECG. Maybe you also know about EEG. You know what is EEG? Electroencephalogram of the brain. ECG, all of you know it. Cardiogram. What is EMG? EMG in diagnostics is called, the full form is electromyogram. Electromyogram. The nerve impulses, the nerve conduction, which conduct the muscles. The nerves conduct the muscular contractions, extensions, and muscular movements. So electromyogram quantifies that. Now, if EMG is taken, for EMG you are called according to your convenience and convenience of the consulting radiologist. Now, when you are going for your EMG test, well, you cannot decide and your mental state. It is possible that you might be in ignoble state of the mind and myogram will be taken. Electrodes will be inserted, needles will be inserted, and impulses, the nerve conduction will be measured. Or you might be in noble state. That doesn't matter there. For the EMG, for apparatus, that doesn't matter. It will take the readings. It will show no change in readings. Although individually the person can feel that there is a big difference. The point is that our body, its skeletal-muscular status, muscular status, muscular impulses, the nerve conduction, the biochemistry will be changing depending upon what state you are in. And one can easily understand that it's a different myogram. It should be different myogram. It should be different ECG. It should be different EEG when you are in a supplicative condition of bhakti, devotion, reverence. Now about that physicality. Now physicality has such gravities. Now just imagine, what is the physicality when you are indulging in sensuality? What is the physicality when you are in a supplicative mood, in a supplicative conditions, surrendering conditions, noble conditions, pious conditions, pure conditions, sanctified conditions of worship? So, if you want to understand what is Annamaya, the suffix maya is profusion. Now I inducted you to the concept, the word physicality, where there is some sort of profusion, either noble state or ignoble state, intemperate state or temperate state, immoderate state or moderate state, materialistic mundane state or sublime state. The physicality will be changing. So Annamaya Kosha doesn't refer to just the physical body as it is in any case, any condition. Only when the sadhaka is in a spiritual pursuit, in adhyatma sadhana, there is a transformation in the body, and that has been referred to as Annamaya Kosha, Annamaya entity. Now that is the essential purport, and the extended purport is that this physical body. Then the other thing that we need to include in Annamaya Kosha is our psychomental functioning, emotional functioning, psychological functioning. All that depends upon blood. If the blood supply is suspended, that will not happen. They will not work. And what is blood? The blood is substance of food that is eaten and processed in the body. The food that we eat, the body chemistry works on it, there is an interaction. And then enzymes are turned out. So the organic secretions, the glandular secretions, which depends upon physical functioning, physiological functioning, organic functioning, psychomental functioning, the mental states. We know that if we are under tremendous stress, the secretions change, body chemistry changes. If you are all the time soaked in sorrows, body chemistry changes. If you are in delight, if you are in stress-less conditions, it's a different body chemistry. Why? Because organic secretions, glandular secretions, they all contribute. And this functioning, you are hearing, you are seeing, you are understanding, you are knowing, you are analyzing, your thought process, it all is because of blood. It is all blood profused act. Therefore, blood is not merely an instrumental cause. What is instrumental cause? A crow sits on a branch of a tree and it breaks. The branch falls. It has not fallen because of the weight of the crow. It was supposed to fall, and it was instrumental that the crow sat on it and it broke and fell. That is called instrumental cause, philosophically. So blood is not merely instrumental cause. All these faculties are soaked in blood. Therefore you are able to see, therefore you are able to hear, therefore you are able to think, therefore you are able to apply your thought process, analytical process, intellectual process. So one can easily understand that this act that is going on in you is blood profused. What is blood? The blood is food profused. It is the food that generates blood, that turns out blood, produces blood with, of course, the interaction with the body chemistry and the processing in the body, organic glandular system. So what I want you here to understand is that don't mistake the Manomaya Kosha as mental body. The mental body is Annamaya. Do not mistake Vijnanamaya to intellectual body, because intellectual body is Annamaya. So just try to imagine how much the Annamaya Kosha is pervasive. It's not merely made up of skin, flesh, muscles, tissues, cells, fibers, etc., which the physical body is made up of, anatomical body is made up of. Referring to that as Annamaya Kosha is pointing out at the tip of the iceberg and say that this is the iceberg. After all, it is tip of the iceberg. So as students of yoga, understand all that transformation that might come to you from beginning of your session of practice and the acme of the condition that you might evolve in your practice or in a class. Because sometimes after the class, the students come and wholeheartedly greet the teacher. Oh, it was a wonderful class. We were transported. Get to know that all that is Annamaya. Even we mortals, ordinary people, materialistic people, seekers, we are not even seekers. As the topic has come, the term has come, we all wrongly think that we are all sadhakas. We are all sadhakas. And we think we are very humble in admitting that we are sadhakas. Right? We think we are seekers, and we think we are being very humble in declaring that we are seekers. So as the word has come, I will offer some explanation on it. Who is a sadhaka? The practice of a siddha is called sadhana. And when the siddha is practicing, that is called, he is sadhaka then. I will give you a simple example. Suppose I decide to start learning music tomorrow, classical music tomorrow. I start learning it tomorrow. Now you can understand what is my caliber, where I will be starting, what will be my starting point. And then I am a very sincere student, like most of you are students of yoga. You want to practice daily, regularly, without fail. I have seen some of you who practice regularly without fail, daily. And suppose I am like you, in the field of music, and I regularly, daily practice 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 14 hours. I don't become sadhaka. Because what am I doing? As I said sometimes in the class, when I started learning violin, and I used to practice violin like you people sincerely practice your yoga daily, regularly. I also used to practice in that tender age, 2.5 hours, regularly. And I had an uncle who encouraged me, and he would always, all the time would come and say, when are you going to scratch your violin? Have you scratched your violin? And he would encourage me to scratch. He said, continue scratching, scratch more number of hours. Because what we do in the beginning, we are going to scratch the instrument. If we are going to learn instrument, we are going to scratch the instrument. If we are going to sing, we are going to scratch the vocal cords. We will be singing with disgusting voice. Nobody would like to hear us. So therefore my uncle told me, you can practice vigorously, but only see that you practice in such a way, in a closed room, so that we are not disturbed. But I will encourage you. I would like to see that you scratch as long as you can in a day. Because unless you scratch, you won't be able to get any control on the instrument. So point is, suppose I start singing tomorrow, learn singing tomorrow, learn vocal tomorrow, I will be scratching my vocal cords, I will be producing the unmusical notes. And then I cannot call myself as sadhaka. That is not sadhana. For sadhana, one must be accomplished to a degree. And when such a person does the practice, he is called sadhaka. So even it will be lesson, it will be worth the lesson if you from tomorrow never say that you are a seeker, you are a sadhaka. Because what we are doing, we are scratching the asanas, we are scratching the pranayam. Like a novice, a child would be scratching the instrument, or as I said, the vocalist, as I start learning vocal tomorrow, I will be scratching the vocal cords, producing the notes and sounds and musical patterns which are literally music to the people who hear. You know what is literal music? You know, we say, I had music from my boss in the office. What is it? It is unpleasant. It is unpleasant. We call it as music. I had music. The boss called me in the cabin and I had the music. Well, that's how the music has been used in English. So it is like that. You open the dictionary, that's the important meaning of music. Chaotic sound, chaotic sound. So point is, we don't qualify to do sadhana unless we are accomplished. Now, what is that accomplishment? We must know what is yoga, basically and faultlessly. And our practices must be well polished to the extent that it can be called practice of yoga. Like if I start singing as a novice, it won't be music for you in the sense of melody of it. Therefore, my such rudimentary, unrefined presentation won't be sadhana. So sadhana must be polished. So who is the sadhaka? Sadhaka is one who knows what is yoga essentially and faultlessly, and is able to practice in a refined manner, not in rudimentary manner. Now we are all in the primitive stages, perhaps even pre-primitive stages, and we should not venture to call ours as sadhana. It's not humbleness, it is arrogance out of ignorance. To call that I am a sadhaka of yoga is an arrogance out of ignorance. So I think that is enough on the term sadhaka, and I am pretty assured that you will not venture to call your practice as sadhana. It requires a qualification, it requires a caliber. Based on know-how acceptable to the science of yoga, and do-how refined. Have you got these words? Know-how and do-how. You know, we say technical know-how. We go for collaborations. Technical know-how from multinational. So in yoga we require to have know-how and do-how, which should be acceptable to science, faultless, and we should not have ignorance in our concepts of the science of yoga. Therefore we need to have scientific study of the subject. We should know what science means. What is yoga according to science? We must have theoretical knowledge. Then only there is a chance that our concepts can be faultless. And then our practice should be refined to be called as yoga. Because if I play violin and scratch violin, you won't call me playing violin. You would say he's scratching violin, as my uncle rightly said. And rightly used to say that you are scratching the instrument. So, I will proceed from that. Just I wanted to make you aware of that concept. What is sadhana? Who can do sadhana? You and me cannot do sadhana. And therefore you and me cannot be sadhakas of yoga. So when this embodiment is applied in spiritual pursuit, like practicing yoga. Now when the sadhaka, now I just now told you who is the sadhaka. When the sadhaka is accomplishing sadhana, the body with embodiment with which he does, it is annamaya kosha. That is the essential meaning of it, essential purport of it. However, as I said, extended purport can be different. But somewhere we should know essential purport of a concept, essential meaning of a concept. So when a sadhaka is in Bhrugu Vidya, which comes in Taittiriya Upanishad, which happens to be Brahma Vidya, it's a Vidya in pursuit of the absolute, ultimate truth. It's a Vidya in pursuit of absolute truth. What is that ultimate truth? Anandamaya. The divinity is Anandamaya. So when the pursuit is in realization of the divinity, which is Anandamaya, it is called Bhrugu Vidya or Bhargavi Vidya in Taittiriya Upanishad. So point is, when a seeker is in a spiritual sadhana, and when the guild of body, the senses, the psyche, the consciousness, the awareness, the faculties, the memory, perception, cognition, all those things, when they are engrossed, involved, applied in that pursuit, that is Annamaya Kosha essentially. So it won't be right on our part to say that something that is done physically is Annamaya pursuit. Or the embodiment which does it is Annamaya Kosha. That won't be right. And as I said, this Annamaya Kosha itself is so extensive, so penetrative, so vast, so expansive, that it includes entire our existence as it is today, from physical plane to all planes of our consciousness. As in asanas, I have several times said about the phases of asanas, execution of asanas, conative phase, cognitive phase, sensitive phase, perceptive phase, pensive phase, reflective phase, meditative phase. Now that's a long journey. It's a long journey for you to accomplish from the rudimentary conditions of your asanas to acme conditions of your asanas. It's a long journey. It's a great involvement. It's also great investment of your powers and faculties. Then only you reach the acme conditions of asanas and get to know that all that is in the realm of Annamaya Kosha. Even if you end in a meditative condition of your mind, in your asana, halasana, vipritkani, pranayam, meditation, japa, whatever, even if you are getting ecstasy, if it's an ecstatic condition or ecstatic condition, it is all psychologically turned out. The tranquility is brain turned out. Neutrality is brain turned out. Sublimity is brain turned out. Therefore, it is all Annamaya. So it is not right to look down upon, belittle, deprecate Annamaya sadhana. Because the highest that we can attain in our sadhana is going to be Annamaya only. Like a river having very extensive bank, like Brahmaputra. When you stand on one bank, you cannot see the other bank. Brahmaputra is like ocean. Otherwise, usually in case of river, we can see the other bank. So in case of Brahmaputra or in case of ocean, in case of ocean, we cannot see the other coast. We are standing on a coast, we cannot see the other coast. The sea extends until the horizon. Similarly, the Annamaya Kosha is so expansive. It gives us a long journey, quite an accomplishing journey for we who are in the rudimentary planes. We should be fortunate if we can reach the other end of Annamaya Kosha, which will not be possible unless we are graced and unless there is sadhana of several lives. Our sadhana itself has not commenced. Our sadhana itself has not commenced. Yoga itself has not commenced. Now that's the bounty of yoga. Not having started, yoga graces, showers so much of bounty. Imagine, if a thing has not started, it doesn't reap. If you start a business, if you start an industry, if it has not started, it doesn't reap you anything. It just costs you. Any business will just cost you. It will reap you only when it turns out something. So basically, it has to start, and then it has to produce, and then you have the gains. Now, look at this spiritual sadhana, yoga. It is not even started. You are only dreaming of it, that you want to do it. We all dream to practice yoga, and merely the dream showers so much of grace. Merely decide that you want to practice yoga, you want to have a pursuit in yoga, you start receiving returns immeasurable, your bank account will overflow. Do you follow? The bank account will overflow even not having started yoga, merely deciding, merely wanting to do yoga. This is the bounty of spiritualism. Wrongly it has been construed that yoga is a very hard path, spiritualism is a very hard path, difficult path, fraught with hardships. And the fruit is attained after several lives. Yes, the ultimate fruit is reaped after several lives, but in the process, until that time, we will be receiving the bounty which cannot be embraced by us. It is out of our reach to embrace. So much is the bounty. And just the Annamaya Kosha can be giving so much. So Annamaya Kosha has great amount of sanctity, great amount of nobility, cosmicality in itself. It bestows you cosmic state, cosmicalized state, cosmic conditions of mind, awareness, etc. by merely adhering to Annamaya sadhana. So the point is, this Annamaya Kosha is entire our being, physical, psychological, intellectual, mental, emotional. It's all Annamaya, 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 Annamaya. Now going to the second Kosha, the Pranamaya Kosha. Before proceeding to that, I will just I would like to give an enunciation to it. Suppose I have a cut in my finger and I bleed. The blood is coming because of the cut. What is it for you and me? You say the finger is bleeding. Even if there is any pathologist here or even hematologist here, he will merely say the same thing what I say, what you say, what layman says, it is blood. Do you follow? It is blood to you, it is blood to me, it is blood to pathologist, it is blood to even hematologist. But when the pathologist and hematologist takes this blood under a microscope and then chemical analysis, then he starts giving so many details, RBC, WBC, hemogram, and then what not, the chemical analysis. The blood contains sugar, cholesterol or whatever. What is blood report? What is hemogram? So if that drop of blood is taken by a pathologist to his lab and then he tries to understand what blood is, he comes out with a divergence which was not revealed by him by just merely looking at the drop of blood or blood oozing from my finger and blood here. It is merely blood for him. But the moment it is taken to laboratory and moment it is analyzed, there is chemical analysis of it, several tests are carried out, then there are several divergences. The blood has this much, that this much. RBC count, WBC count, any sugar, blood sugar, any acidic substances, any alkaline substances, hemogram from whatever, 6, 7, 8 to 13, 14, 14 and a half, 15. Now that is possible only just not because he is hematologist or just because he is a radiologist, pathologist. He has to go to a lab. And the laboratory observations only will reveal certain things. Similarly, about these Pancha Koshas, even as understood that Annamaya Kosha is a gross body, visible body, tangible body, it's not true. Like what is blood? A drop of blood. Or say 50 cc of blood taken from my body. What is that 50 cc blood if not taken to pathologists and not taken through the tests? After all, it is just blood. So we as students of yoga need to go to a laboratory. The laboratory happens to be within us. And that is why several times in classes I have inducted to lab psychosis. If we are going to be students, we need to go to lab psychosis. We need to work under lab psychosis. Then only in lab conditions, the blood is something having some hemogram, the hemogram, as you would say, so much of 14% or 14.5% or whatever, and then RBC, WBC, etc. And then now what is our lab? The lab is our place of study. Now what is this place of study? Apart from this embodiment, like we might be practicing our asanas, pranayamas and whatever yogic aspects of meditation, dhyana, etc., japa, etc. Well, that's no doubt a lab. But apart from that, there are other aspects of lab also, our thought process. our analytical abilities. Like in a laboratory, the instruments must be immaculate, faultless. Then only the readings will be right. Now we are going to construe something, conceive something with what? Our observations and our conclusions. Now all those observations, conclusions depend upon wisdom, which is not merely experiential. Experience cannot take us too far. Moreover, experience is very, very subjective. That is how it has certain negative points. The experiential knowledge is highly subjectivistic. And that will influence a lot, subjectivistic conditions. Like generally we think that we are always right. There are very few people who have that complex. They are afraid, am I wrong? I think I am all the time wrong. But generally we all think that we are always right. Now this is a subjectivistic condition. This is going to influence our experiential knowledge. Therefore there has to be an objective knowledge also. If you open out the Yoga Rasya of the last issue, there is an article of mine. You can read that. You should read that. Where I have inducted to the modes of knowledge. One is scholastics. There must be a scholastic mode where you read a text, you study a text. There is an intellectual process. Wherever logic is to be applied, you apply the logic. Intellectual process is applied. Intellectual rationalism is applied. The whole intellectual process is applied. And that is a scholastic mode. Then there is experiential knowledge. Then there is intuitive knowledge. So the knowledge process evolves on the columns of scholastics, experiential and intuitive. Merely having scholastic pursuits will make a person very, very objective, and then we know what the intellectuals are, how they are. They are more dogmatic than being pragmatic. And intellectual people, very intellectual people, very logic-minded people, very temporal people, very analytical-minded people. How are they? Obviously they are pragmatic, but they are more dogmatic than being pragmatic. So merely scholastic mode will be lopsided. Exclusively experiential mode will be also lopsided. Experientially intuitive mode, and some people depend upon intuition. My mind has said, and therefore this is what I am going to do. Inner voice, my inner voice says. I don't know how we commoners can be listening to inner voice with so much of tumult and turmoil and chaos. So usually the intuitions are impulsions. Usually it is mistaken. Impulsion is taken to intuition, and we say this is my intuitive knowledge, intuitive decision, and therefore I am going to do this, it is going to be right. So they are all lopsided. There has to be blend. Point is, all that is annamaya. An intellectual giant, sometimes we refer to a person as an intellectual giant. I don't want to name anyone, but you can definitely name in your minds. I don't want to refer to a person. But we refer to some people as intellectual giants. They have superhuman intellectual abilities. They have analysis, they have foresight, they have imaginations. And that is annamaya. The scholastic the pursuit is also annamaya. You need to deal with your senses, brain, mind, intelligence, awareness. It's all Annamaya. Now this Annamaya manifestation is governed and conditioned by the second sheath, which is Pranamaya Kosha. Now Pranamaya Kosha is loosely conceived as energy body. Now what is this energy? Is that RA energy? You know what is RA? RA milk scheme. Now they also bring out what you call milk, and it is called energy. You might be getting cookies which are called energies. Glucose is energy. Potassium chloride, sodium chloride, energy. So suppose we are indisposed and we are put on trips in a hospital, in a clinic, in a nursing home. We are on trips. Now what is that? The drip. What is the drip? Glucose, potassium chloride, sodium chloride, and in no time, one bottle is gone, we feel energetic. Maybe 2 bottles are gone, we are up and about. Couple of bottles gone, we are prepared for bouts in life, and we think it's energy. And that's why we should know that there is difference between power and energy. Now this word energy has come in spiritual texts, yogic texts, to translate the word Shakti. Now that's not right rendition. There is no word for Shakti in English. Shakti is a tantric word, it's a word of mysticism. Indians should be aware of it. What is Shakti? And that has been rendered into English, because today yoga can be taught, imparted, propagated only in English. And therefore, if I have to speak about the word Shakti has to be rendered into English, I conveniently use the word energy. Now even if you take the word as energy, it should not be taken to mean on chemical plane. What is energy in physics? What is energy in physics? E is equal to mc square. That's the equation. E is equal to mc square. M for mass. What is c square? Now suppose when we refer to energy in us, that I am an energetic person, this is my energy, with these energies I do. Do we refer to anything like velocity of light and the square of it? What is mc square? Do we refer to any mass? Now any mass, when it is assuming velocity of light, it becomes energy according to physics. So if we have to depart from our misconstrued notion of energy, Shakti as energy, we cannot be taking energy as RA energy, that is RA milk scheme, which we get in bottles. There might be energy cookies, energy biscuits, energy pills, energy drugs. Energy should be understood at least in the sense of physics, postulation of physics, which is E is equal to mc square. Now when we refer to energy in us, is there any reference to velocity of light? And then actually the real word, the meaning of it is Shakti. Now this Pranamaya Kosha is Prana profused Shakti, the layer, Prana profused sheath. Now some of the lay students of yoga, they will say, what is Pranamaya Kosha? Means Pancha Pranas. Prana, Pan, Udan, Vyan, Saman. That's 5 pranas and that is Pranamaya Kosha. What are those pranas? Now as I said, the example I gave you about the blood, the drop of blood fallen here and fallen in a lab. There is big difference between that blood and this blood, although both are same bloods. There is no difference between this blood and that blood, but in report of it, in the divergence of it, there is a big difference. What is this Pranamaya Kosha? We need to have an inquiry into mysticism because it is Prana. Nobody knows what is Prana. Breath is not Prana. It is different than that, much more than that. This Prana has been described in the text. Even if you open out Guruji's Light on Pranayam, what is the definition of Prana? Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. Now each of the words there have no importance for us. Now suppose you are doing pranayama. You are in your pranayamic endeavor, pranayamic class. What after all you are doing? You are breathing. Breathing in, breathing out in specific mode. According to certain specifications, you are breathing in and breathing out, maybe retaining the breath. Now tell me in that, what is universal, what is cosmic, and what is Shakti? Now when we breathe, we are breathing with personal breath, personalized breath. We are breathing personal breath, personalized breath. Where is universal? What is cosmic? What is the cosmic there? And where is the energy? We are merely breathing the in-breath with the air available outside. At the most 20% of oxygen, 72% of nitrogen, and then whatever other secondary gases in the atmosphere. Now if oxygen is life force, nitrogen is life force, I will give you a doll. You fill in oxygen there. Let us see whether the doll will animate. You pump in the breath that you take in, maybe more fresher air, pure air, you infill it, inflate the doll with it. Let us see whether the doll will animate. The prana is something else. Why the Pranamaya Kosha is there? Because of Pranamaya Kosha, we are functioning. We are not merely functioning because the brain is there. We are not merely functioning because the eyes are there, ears are there, nostrils are there, tongue is there, hands are there, legs are there. They are working because of they are presided over by certain forces. There is an Adidaivic constitution within us. So as students of yoga, to understand this embodiment, we have to understand the Adidaivic constituents. There are celestial forces within us because of which we are functional. And the Adhyatma tells us, each of the sense organ, each of the cognitive organs have a presiding deity. Now in our topic of Swadhyaya, of Yoga Sutras, we are supposed to know that. What is the curriculum of Swadhyaya? Syllabus of Swadhyaya. is to understand the Adidaivic constitution of this body, Adidaivic constitution of the body, Adidaivic forces which are governing and presiding over the functions of the body. Like behind the eyes there is Surya Devata. In the power of the hands, which shows our strength. If we want to use our strength, we use our arms, we show our arms to show our strength and power and valor. Indra Devata is the presiding deity of the arms. So different organs have different celestial forces. And in absence of celestial forces, we are vegetative. We are in a vegetative condition. So the Pranamaya Kosha is there primarily not for us, not for our existence. The Pranamaya Kosha is there for the celestial beings to indwell. Now suppose if you are going to go land on moon, we just cannot take a spacecraft and land on the moon and embark on the moon. So also Mars. If you are going to go on Mars, voyage to Mars, voyage to whatever planet, voyage to whatever celestial body, we cannot merely have a spacecraft, spaceship and reach us there. We need to take our atmosphere with us. On Venus, there is no oxygen, there is carbon dioxide. On Venus, the whole atmosphere is carbon dioxide. Now, can we subsist on carbon dioxide? No. What do we need to do? We need to take oxygen cylinders, sufficient oxygen stock with us, then only we can land on Venus. So wherever we are going to go to celestial bodies, you cannot just take a flight. Today you come from a continent, you just take a flight and you land here and you are in India. But if we are going to have a celestial journey, that's not possible. We need to take our atmosphere. Now the water that we drink here will not be available on the moon. We will have to take our water. We will have to take our air. Only then we can land on the moon. Now we are functioning because of celestial grace, celestial forces, and their because they preside over our existence, faculties, we are functional. So they have to enter our embodiment. And since they have got to enter our embodiment, they carry their atmosphere. Because they have to live here. If we have to live on the moon, we have to take our atmosphere there. Then only we can live on the moon. So if they have to live in us, they have to bring their atmosphere. That's why the prana has been described in Upanishads. Pranavava rudraha, pranavava adityaha, pranavava vasavaha, prano prajapati, prano vai vishnuhu. The prana is the breath of celestial beings. Just as our breath is oxygen and the atmosphere is not merely oxygen, 20% and 72% nitrogen, that's the atmosphere here. So if you open out a primary school book and know what is the atmosphere of the earth, then it will tell you break up 20% oxygen, 72% nitrogen and ozone and whatever. Now that is our atmosphere. Celestial beings carry their cylinders, they bring their atmosphere within us. So within our embodiment there is a celestial atmosphere wherein they can indwell and they can function, whereby we can function. So the prana is the atmosphere of the gods. And they come with their atmosphere, just as we take our cylinders. Wherever we go outside the terrestrial world, we need to carry our cylinders. We need to carry our mask. Without that, we cannot be going merely having a spaceship. We cannot be escaping from the terrestrial atmosphere. So when the gods enter within us, they come with their atmosphere. That is prana. Prana is the oxygen of gods. Prana is the atmosphere of gods. And they bring it with them within us. Therefore they can function, and because they can function, we can function. Every act of ours is because of the grace of celestial forces. So well, tomorrow I will explain you in the morning session what is this Pranamaya Kosha, what are these gods, what are these celestial beings, what are these celestial forces within us. As we Hindus know it, we say 33 crores of gods, 33 koti devata. Now what is this 33? The crores means infinitude. Their power is infinite, or their power is great. Therefore we say there are 33 crores of gods. Crores mean, a crore means 10 million. So we say that there are 330 million gods. Why this 33 number? So that I will explain tomorrow in the morning session. And for the time being, thanks for your patience. And I wish you better luck tomorrow. Thank you. Well, I had to change the role, so I came down here. Well, tomorrow morning the session will start at 10 o'clock. And I will start where I ended today. I will try to explain you the concept of Pranamaya Kosha. Why is it, what for, and that will be tomorrow's topic. Tomorrow morning, the first session will start at 10 o'clock. And expectedly you will come with your breakfast. And then we'll have the first break after about 1.5 hours. And there will be a tea break. The tea will be served. And then we have the second session. And the second session will end on the point of lunch. And the lunch will be waiting for you by about 1:30. So come prepared. You will have about the tea time. It will be just tea. No snacks with it. No biscuits and cookies with it. Around 11:30. And then by about after 1:30, by 2 o'clock, there will be lunch. So this is tomorrow's program. I won't divulge the tomorrow's program in detail, except for what I said. My talk will continue. Rest of the things will be in suspense. And I wish you better luck for all that. Thank you.